It's not a bit of roses.
It is a bit of roses, but you need to know that underneath all that, there are a lot of thorns, lah, right? And
Oof.
that, you know, if you're gonna jump in, expect to be pricked, lah.
Welcome to another episode of the Dabao Show. In this series, days off, we follow a guest from the F&B industry on the day off to see what they get up to, have a meal with them, have a bit of tea, and maybe spill a bit as well. For today, our guest is Alvin, the co-owner of Folkyard.
I'm Alvin, I'm from Folkyard. On my off days, I drink wine and get drunk. Okay. I was in finance, I was in a family office, and I also was in asset management.
Okay.
So, Finbro.
Bro, were you always into the whole F&B thing in the first place? Like, what got you in?
I always wanted to be part of something, like in the future and stuff like that, but never really thought about it because like it takes up a lot of money, and then it's not the first kind of business that actually generates like the most returns, right? And I mean, I like it because it's fun, right? It all started because like I just visited this cafe a lot, like I was really into coffee, and there was just somebody who just was there to engage, right? And just to share a little bit more of this whole idea of specialty coffee, right? And bit by bit, like I started to realize that hey, this industry is a little bit different from most. I mean, every industry has its own like problems, but this is one that like I can say it's like genuine fun. Yeah. And I just really felt like I just wanted to experience that, but I didn't really know how to bridge into it until this came out, until Folkyard came out.
Do you have any like prior F&B experience?
It was like just to help someone out on Valentine's Day, so like everybody MC it. I was a customer, I was just like, hey,
actually that's quite clutch, that's quite clutch.
guys, you need... No, like, hey, I was a single man, okay? Like, it's okay to be alone. Normalize being alone. Love yourself first.
Yeah.
Who needs a partner?
Yeah.
I've been talking to two iCASHH, man. I think I was just offered like some help lah, like, hey, you want me to pack your stuff and stuff like that. But the person was like, hey, you want to jump on shift? So that was the only one. So really zero F&B experience going into this. Don't feel me tie my pants.
That's funny.
Kahat, sponsor me.
What do you think were your initial struggles as you like got started on the job?
Obviously at the start, like there was a lack of skills and experience. Prior to this, I was just a home brewer, and like in terms of like expertise and coffee knowledge, there was a limit and a cap to it, right? As much as I could sort of like do it on my own with the theory, but like practical skills, like, you know, I was lacking quite a bit lah in terms of, for example, like pulling shots, steaming milk, like, you know, pouring latte art and stuff, and even service, right? I mean, that's really important, right? Like the experience, like, you know, engaging customers, learning about new stuff. It's all a steep learning curve, but I think that's the toughest part.
I guess service was the one that you picked up the quickest lah. Because I mean, it's really like
I think
straight up, you're gonna be thrown into that. So that one was the fastest.
No, it was a bit different because at the start, like I was sort of semi-working yet not working. You know, like you still had a job, right? Jumping between two places. So am I really gonna be here for like, you know, good, or am I still gonna back to corporate and stuff like that? So that was still on my mind. So at the same time, I was just wondering like, okay, I need to understand what this place is gonna be like first, right? How Shan is running this place, right? And like not mimic, but try to do it in my own style, right? Trying to get and understand what this place is trying to achieve first, right? What kind of like environment is trying to build with the customers, right? What kind of community is trying to build, and then from then on, it became a lot clearer. But understanding took a while, lah.
Obviously from corporate to, you know, F&B, right? Were there any other things that you prepared yourself for, research?
Because for me and Shan, we are more like people who are like, you know, who put a lot of value on experience, right? Of a place, right? When you go in, what do you experience, right? Baseline product must be good, right? We are product driven, but more like we value experience a lot more. Where like, you know, at the end of the day, you come in, you come out, you feel like you enjoy yourself. So I'm more particular with certain things when I view certain places where I go with him, or like just go out, like what do I like about this place, right? And personally, it's like more of like, what can I take away from them that I like? What can I and cannot do? What am I able, not able to do? The kind of like direction, right? And I try to like, you know, learn from there lah, right? And it's helpful, especially when like you have like friends who run other coffee places, other like wine bars and stuff like that. You sort of see like with certain crowd how they react, and that's when I realized I can do that as well lah, right? And it's not wholesale coffee, but it's just being able to sort of have like a roadmap that those people have really like suffered through to get there,
Like a blueprint is really laid out already.
in a sense, yeah. Like even small things, like for example, like over here at Folk, we don't really slam the fridge door, right? It's like a pet peeve, right? And then now I go to other places where they slam the fridge door. It's very apparent, right? It's like a, in your face kind of thing where it's like, I understand why we don't really slam the fridge door. Like, it disrupts the experience as a whole, right? Imagine you're drinking your coffee in the morning, then you hear like bam. For me, I feel like it's a little bit. Yeah. Don't slam fridge door. Respect and love your equipment,
So in comparison, like, your journey in the corporate world and now this journey in the F&B, right? In my opinion, I guess most people will say F&B is a bit more crime good, that kind of thing. There's a lot of more physical. What your opinion between the two?
I was tired from service and everything, but the thing is, I'm not as drained as compared to corporate. Like, that's for me, because like my hours back then was a bit different, right? Because of how like I would travel back and everything. I reach home at 8 to 10. By the time I reach home, like I bought the train hungry, I reach home like no appetite. One factor that got me like to leave, right, was because I was losing way too much weight. I mean, I'm also like not eating as like irregular now, but like back then was draining, like really no energy every day. But F&B different. It just, for some reason, I don't feel as tired, even though it's tiring.
More
not
physically
draining,
demanding, but less maybe lesser mental draining.
Yeah.
How much time Alvin have left? 2 hours.
2 hours, what enough?
1.5 hours.
Yeah. Because here it's also very easy to travel down.
Oh, I just want popcorn, man. Actually, that'll be quite interesting. One episode we actually watch a movie. Thank you. But always a lot of time. The corporate world is definitely a more safer job as compared to the F&B in terms of. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still, there's still a stable pay. There's still, it is what it is. But that huge jump, like, what do you feel?
It's true that corporate is like a safety net in a sense, right? Like, it's a standard Singaporean route. Like, you sort of get a certain amount every month, right? And it can grow a lot more, right? For me, definitely, like, that was great, right? The idea of like, having like a certain kind of stability in my life, right? But when I extrapolate, like, in a sense, like how much will I be earning, what's the growth and everything, and with the current environment of the job, right, that I have to be doing this for 20, 30 years, right, will I be satisfied in my life, right? And just so happened when I was like thinking about that, this opportunity came by, and when I made the jump, like it felt right lah. Bank account didn't feel right, but this is what it meant, that you have satisfaction and fulfillment in your job.
Because there's a change, right, obviously.
Because obviously, like, I'm getting like paid less, but like prior to this, when I picked my major and everything in uni and stuff, I chose it because like I just want to earn, right? And job satisfaction and fulfillment wasn't even on like my priority, right? Because to me, it's like the grind will get to me, I'll hate my job. Like, why bother, right? Just might as well be paid. But after a while, when I started working, like a few years, I realized that it's important that you get some kind of fulfillment and that you really do enjoy your job, because so many conscious hours, right, that you spend at your job, right, cannot just be put to waste lah, because that's majority of your life. Easy 70% of your efficient hours are spent at this space, and if you hate it, you're essentially saying you hate most of your life, right? So I think in general, like people need to consider that if this kind of like payoff applies to them when they make the jump, right? It doesn't really apply to everybody, but for me it does, right? The trade-off, it's worth it. But I think if anybody were to like transit from this to like F&B, right, like they need to understand what's coming, right? Whether or not you can take the hours, right? You can take like the pay cut.
There's trade-off on both ends.
Yeah, and I don't think F&B should always, come as with a pay cut, because I feel like it's I met many people who are way smarter than corporate colleagues, right? And more like sharper and more intuitive, right? They are not being paid their worth, honestly. And I feel like in this industry, Like, people need to recognize their worth a little bit more. That these people are actually way smarter and way more competent than they are being paid. And I think bit by bit, I think everybody needs to take the step to sort of change it and reward these people properly, you know, and fairly.
Do you have any other advice for anyone who probably think about if they think about doing
stuff? I think it's very clear. Like, you need to know your concept first of all. You need to be very clear what you want to do, right? It cannot be another repeat of what's out there, right? Because there's so many that's out there already. What makes you different, right? It can be just location or really pure concept, right?
There's a lot of measurements, right?
Yeah.
It just depends on what you wanna.
At the same time, it's not a bit of roses, right?
It's not a bit of roses.
It is a bit of roses, but you need to know that underneath all that, there are a lot of thorns, right? And that, you know, if you're gonna jump in, expect to be pricked, basically. So, like, it's really, really tougher than what you think, right? A lot of people dream of doing that. I have like ex-colleagues who tell me they want to do it, but I don't tell them. But sometimes I feel like I should, like, hey, you know, you should rethink it if you really want to do it, right? It's not as easy as like, hey, it's all fun.
I always think that people should walk the life of it first before even thinking about it.
But for
especially
me, I didn't, right? And it sort of worked out. But I feel it's possible to still do something if you don't, right? But you must be more or less self-aware, right? Of whatever you may need to do. If you did like an F&B job before, it really does help a lot. Because it's a lot of, you know what can go wrong, you know what you need to do when specific problems like pop up, right? But if you don't, it's gonna be tougher for sure. So just understand, right? And know that if you go in without experience, must come with an open mind. Or like when I started, I told the full-timer, the starting team that, like, you know, you treat me like a part-timer, like I don't know anything, keep it hush that I'm part of this, right? Because I got a lot to learn. I don't want to set the wrong standards there, right? So undercover boss situation, whack me even if I do mistakes, right? Let me learn as fast as possible, because I know I'm lacking lah.
When I think about the way we used to be, when I think about the things you took from me, I know that I am so much better. I'm better off when I look at what I've done now that we're apart.
Do you think there's anything that you strive for?
Let's be real lah. I mean, over here in Singapore, it's not the best job if you want to be successful in terms of like the Singapore definition of success, right? Which is to get rich and stuff. I mean, if that comes along, great, right? More than happy lah. But it's not so much like I want 10 shops, 20 shops, you know, that kind of thing. My goal is not to get rich, right? It's just to...
Not yet.
Hopefully,
Can't say don't get rich.
Total 10 million, but because I experienced all this like on the job and everything, and it brought a lot of like satisfaction and fulfillment in a job which I never really had in my previous job. So I think end goal for me, or like mid-term goal right now, it's more to like sustain that, right, while having my needs met lah, like in terms of like, you know, having enough for the future and stuff, right? And I feel like it's important lah that like you know, when you're in this, you understand what you want out of it, because there's a lot of mismatch of expectations in terms of like business partners, right? And I'm glad that mine is on the same page as me lah.
If you had a choice again, right, to relive this situation, right, would you have wished that you done it sooner?
I think to be part of Forkyard, timing was right, but in terms of, let's say, exposure to the industry, I think it might change my perspective. There's a high chance it will actually like skew me away from this and make me like not enjoy it as much, because given the time period where I would have been able to join, I don't think I would be really in it, right? I would have approached it as like a home brewer kind of mindset and just fun and games, but the truth is not that, right? And I think I would really do hate it all, because it's really a grind, right? And me personally, as myself, I don't think at that point of time I was ready to have that much interactions with everyone as well lah. I would just clamp up.
You know, there are so many stories of all these people. Oh, I left my corporate job to do a hawker store. Right? Now that you're one of them now, right, how does it feel?
To sum it up, if you don't know what you're in for, don't not fun and games wait till you like unclog like choke pipes at 2 AM right before your dinner. All the milk solid come out. Wow.
It's a different grind. There are grinds on every job.
Yeah. It's not bad, but like, I mean, if you just think that it's more fun and games, like little ferries and stuff around, then no lah, right? It's really not lah. Like, especially if, let's say, your concept doesn't really translate and then like you're in the shits, then you basically gave up your life and whatever potential you have for this, and you're taking 10 steps back, quote unquote.
I've come so far.